I get out of here, and I will, there's gonna be carnage.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why I laughed at that. That's not fun.
Oh my God. I mean, look, watching, let me just...
Can you do it in mime?
Tom, the first movie was such a massive hit with that $80 million opening and a tremendous vote of confidence from the fans. What do you remember about that opening weekend when you finally got to feel that the fans embraced your vision of this movie?
The first one, wasn't my vision of the movie. But there were other powers at play in that aspect. I was, if I go back, what was I thinking? I think with anything you want something to do well that you care about, and obviously it didn't it didn't carry any water with the critics. They literally panned us, but the audiences turned out in droves, which was what was so lovely about it. It was like watching an underdog be lifted up and presented, and like enjoyed and relished for what it was and what it is, and certainly for the joy with which we have in playing and within the sandbox and enjoying the work that we do with Venom. So that was a tremendous sense of spirit. I know we got straight on the phone to Tom Rothman at Sony and said, look, can we put a pitch in to do the second one, because we're really keen to take what we've learned from the first and get on and start writing that second one and get on the floor again and see if we can push it further,
Oh, shit! Whoa, where you going? That is a red one!
You need to come out right now. I will let you eat everybody!
Promise!
I promise!
Oh, yeah!
Were there any conversations, Mr. Harrelson, because at the end of the first Venom, you had that magnificent red wig. Was there any conversations about keeping that? Where did that go? How come that went away?
I didn't think that was a very good wig. I did think that the wig that I used in this one was going to be a little bit redder, but then it came out. On the other hand, it worked good. It's just a better wig, I thought. So.
The lilt and the cadence of Cletus, where did that come from? I think I found it to be very distinct, and his energy was not what I expected out of the character, and I thought it worked really well.
Oh, thank you. I don't know, just messing around, was just trying that stuff, which I didn't really do so much with that little thing I did at the end of the first one. So I don't know, at least I had time with this one to try to mess around with it a little bit, but yeah, I like the character and I really like the movie, and that's not something that you can just assume will happen.
Betty, you feel like home to me. Like family.
Andy, I know Tom won't do this, but can you at least brag about his gift for physical comedy and how important it is to bring Eddie Brock to life?
Oh my God. I mean, look, watching, let me just...
Can you do it in mime?
He is. No, he's just an extraordinary... Look, to get the chance to work with Tom was just a joy. And Tom was very lovely in asking me to, pitching my name forward for doing this. So we've wanted to work together for years. But watching Tom at work was one of the major joys of this whole experience, because, the whole way of creating Venom, creating the radio play that he could then bounce off, and then, he did all the work. It was just fantastic. And then we literally populated the screen with Venom wherever Tom chose him to be. So it was a lovely kind of organic, I felt, organic kind of process.
Not far from what you do, is it? It's just more of the same. So I think, not to jump in on the question as in like blowing smoke up my rear end, right? You know what I mean? It's not that, but I think what's really nice, what's lovely, and what's so wonderful about working with Andy is just like, I know that what we're doing as like artists, as like actors, do you know what I mean? That Andy just gets it. So it's like, how can we facilitate this on a level which makes it more epic and bring in more monsters and more vibrance, more colour, and just push it, because I know that Andy not only understands from the floor what it's like to do what I do as an actor, and gets it. Goes, okay, this is what Tommy will need from a floor level, but then also how to create a table to put it on a platform and then extend it out to make it interesting to audiences as well. And so it was a no-brainer, really, and more like a couple of old lads trying to muddle through a really cool puzzle that, you know, with lots of options to play with, you know. It was a really good rehearsal, like not rehearsal room, but a workspace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Because of your collaborations with Mr. Serkis on the Apes franchise, what was your reaction when you found out he was going to take over Venom and direct this film?
Well, that was an entire surprise to me because both Tom and I lobbied for it with Tom Rothman, but I was very, very psyched because Ruben Fleischer, you know, a good friend of mine who I worked with on Zonderland, and then, you know, I thought he was doing the second one, but then when he wasn't, and you know, it's great to have a friend in the pilot seat, you know.
Makes a big difference for sure. To that point, because you've had multiple chances where you've transitioned from a director and stayed in the same franchise. Like, what is that like normally? Do you keep ownership of the character? Do you have a lot of conversations about where you want the character to go?
I mean, I don't think it affected that in either, you know, case when this has happened. But there's a lot of people who make sure that the continuity between the previous incarnation is going to all stay fairly on point. But I trust Andy Serkis. I would trust him with anything. I think that guy's a creative genius of the highest order. Right. And one of the great actors ever. So for him to be at the helm, and for him the notes that he would have and the ideas he would have, just fantastic.
Your costume is amazing!
Thank you.
Andy, I want to ask you about my absolute favorite scene in the film, which is Venom at a rave club. It's visually arresting, and I felt like an incredible challenge for you to maybe like light and capture the character in that setting. Can you talk a little bit about where the idea for that amazing sequence came from?
Well, actually, you know, it was always going to be a kind of carnival, Day of the Damned, kind of, or Night of the Damned sort of festival, sort of with an LGBTQIA feel, and that really came from Kelly and Tom's, you know, the material in the script, but actually then we had the great good fortune of involving Little Sims, so which again came from Tom, it was one of Tom's ideas, and it just sort of grew from the script into that, but and then it was really populated by amazing costume design by Joanna Eatwell, our costume designer, who did an extraordinary job. I mean, there were 650, it was just before COVID, and it was like there were 650 extras in very close proximity, supporting artists, I should say, in close proximity. So we wanted it to feel organic and not too prescribed, you know, but so a lot of it sort of, we previewed some of it and we storyboarded some of it, but it was quite live and quite, you know, energized by what was going on in the room, and then all the puppets that we had brought in, and, you know, we were just sort of busked and played with the camera, sort of following everybody, and but yeah, I mean, the most important thing was, I suppose, making Venom feel real at all times. So the integration of the character, and that was a big theme thematically for me. It was one of the most important things cinematographically, was to make sure those symbiotes really felt like they were part of the environment.
Oh, they absolutely did this time, Matt. I thought that was fantastic. Tom, I have to ask about this. The Mumford Phys Ed department sweatshirt and the Detroit Lions jacket. These are Axel Foley. These are Beverly Hills Cop. What?
Yeah,
is Andy just a huge fan of the franchise? What's going on?
Yeah, 100%. Like Kelly and I and the team, and we like to throw in little Easter eggs and bits and pieces of a collage of interests, of inspiration, and bits of things for people to find. And one of them was definitely, I'm a huge fan of Axel Foley and the Beverly Hills Cop franchise. When I was a kid, I grew up, and I remember thinking, oh man, that character's so cool, and so yeah, we give it a little nod.
Literally nobody can wear a Detroit Lions jacket without calling to mind that character.
100%, right? Actually, there was a thing about that particular jacket because it's the most, I think, is it the bootlegged? Is it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
That since Axel Foley, so we had to get special permission to make a black special one that I think belongs to the NFL's Detroit Lions.
You live in my body. You live by my rules. I'm sorry. I don't know what came over me. Please let me fix it so I can play it again.